I'm running 52 5Ks in 52 weeks. And because I really wanted to continue all stereotypes of Connecticut, we're doing it on a golf course. The MahoneySabol 5K at the Travelers Championship. The Travelers Championship. It's 1 week in mid-June where Connecticut feels like a sporting mecca. It's a golf tournament held since 1952 and has been a staple in the PGA Tour for decades, with past winners including Jordan Spieth, Arnold Palmer, and Bubba Watson. While I've always been fascinated by the fanfare that always happens every year, I've never actually gone to the Travelers Championship. I think my best score at a 9-hole golf course is like 70, and really the only local professional sports that I'll go to is Stafford Motor Speedway for racing and Hartford Athletic Soccer. Really solidifies me as the bacon avocado burger of people. But with this challenge we're on, seeing new places is at the heart of the excitement. And here on week 2, we have another HMF sponsored event. That's Hartford Marathon's equivalent to like New York Road Runners or the BAA. So the biggest racing series in the state, something as big as the Travelers Championship, you can't help but go for it. Which brings us to the MahoneySabol 5K, a race that runs in the neighborhood of the golf course, TPC RIver Highlands in Cromwell, Connecticut. Now before we get into the race itself, let's talk about the training leading up to it after race 1. At this point, I'm still building up the weekly mileage in order to get to where I want to be every week. Week 2 had me at about 7.5 miles total, including the race, but I really wanted to focus on building up the aerobic capacity in a way that I hadn't during the marathon training. I'd done a lot of the fartlek kind of run walk things for longer distances, but I really wanted to focus on being able to run a long period of time and a long distance. So Monday we start off with about 500 yards of swimming, and for the run Wednesday I had heard a lot about the strategy of just running consistently for periods of time. Don't even worry about the mileage or anything, just
It's 8 o'clock on Wednesday. I'm realizing that the best thing for me right now is not necessarily the sprints. I'm naturally wanting to do a 9:30, a 9 pace. Not exactly something that I'm used to doing at longer distances. So I think right now it should be the aerobic side of things. So it's just straight 15-minute run today. It's also great because the allergies just started. First Zyrtec of the year. My hay fever has always been just brutal. It's bad. We'll see how it goes. Now, I'm a lad that has stability shoes. The old reliable Brooks Adrenaline 22 at your service. It's actually the second pair that I've gotten of these. But I'm thinking of going neutral just because I've heard people have a tendency to overdiagnose pro rating to the level that requires such stability.
Here's the big no-no of the week. 2 days in a row we ran, which should have been more spread out, let's be honest. But Thursday was 400-meter sprints on the track. I think it was run a lap, walk a lap, do that 5 times. The pace itself for every 400-meter run was about 7 to 8 minutes per mile, which really sprints should be faster, but that's where we're at. Don't worry about it. We have our baseline. That's all that counts. Cross-training also happened throughout the week, just focusing on standing up in the middle of the workday, stretching out the legs, doing tiptoes, squats, lunges, just, things to keep your body on edge. So let's take a look at the race to see how that all fared out.
It's morning time. One of the biggest adjustments to this challenge is not being able to wake up at 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays. I'm not a morning person. You wanna know how much I'm not a morning person? There is a Keurig on my bedside table. That is the way I wake up in the morning. Like, I need the coffee immediately. I can't even walk over to the kitchen. It's concerning. It's nice though. You wake up, you have your coffee right in bed. Formula 1 this weekend, Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Some kind of weird sprint format that just started. Ferrari, maybe, that'd be good for once. Can we? Just using up all the extra things I had. Going caffeine gel, recovery after the fact. First time doing this on a 5K, so we'll see what kind of effect it has. Breaking out the Buckies today.
Here we go. This is going to be a fun downhill coming up here. Still a lot to learn. Still a whole lot to learn. So if you're expecting to run through all 18 holes in order as the course goes on, you're going to be disappointed. It's going to be more the neighborhood surrounding TPC rather than the course itself, which is where the start-finish line and all the fanfare is. The course itself, to figure out your fitness, is excellent though, because elevation-wise, it's like this V-shape. You have that initial little uphill-downhill jolt. Then you spend the next mile and a half doing this gradual, like 20 feet downhill, until all of a sudden it's just this big drop-off, big uphill that seems like it takes about 3 times longer than the drop-off, and then you're just going gradually uphill the rest of the way for the next mile and a half after that. And I felt it too. I was feeling good that first half of the race, hovering around 11 minutes per mile, you know, a good comfortable pace for me. But those uphills at the end, they were killer. They packed a punch, and I was run walking the entire way. I couldn't do it as well. I think the big cross-training thing for me is going to have to be focusing on the shins specifically, because all those muscles were the things that were cramping and keeping me from continuing to run the entire back half of that race. And with my top heaviness build just overall, that's always been the struggle spot. I've had to worry about making sure I don't get shin splints and everything. That's why I'm taking it easy on building up to the mileage. Really gotta fix these chicken legs, man. This is what skipping leg day on your lifting heyday creates right here. So final time ended up being 35:10, about 11:18 per mile. You know, compared to the first time I trained a lot of 5K distance, it definitely has not taken as much time to get me to 35 minutes, which is a good thing. That means there's long-term progress that's happened. Still got a lot of work to do. And, you know, compared to week 1, it was a really good improvement. It wasn't as humbling of an experience. Of course, you can see how well that went. We got 50 races to go to see how good we can do this.
Hello, Mr. Sir. Don't know if snack or attack.